someone out there out in the snow. I know that I knew her, I can't think how.
Okay, welcome to Forensics Detailing channel. Today we'll do a video on sealants and waxes. Basically, what are sealants and waxes and the differences between sealants and waxes, why you should be using them and when you should be using them, how you should be applying them, and going through some examples of some of the sealants and waxes that I use. And I think you might, if you haven't got them, might want to try them. So it's just really to give you an introduction into sealants and waxes. I'm not a sealant and wax expert. Most of my knowledge has come from recommendations and using all these various products and then sort of forming an opinion of the ones that I think actually give you sort of noticeable kind of qualities that you're looking for, whether that's some excel at giving you a sort of finish, or some might excel at giving you kind of hydrophobic qualities, others might excel with the durability, some might be easier to apply than others. So we're going to consider all these things in the video over the next few minutes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is what are the primary functions of sealants and waxes and why you would use them. So there's three of those that I would like to talk about. Now the first one, and I think this is the most important one, and it's the one that people seem to not appreciate the most. And the first and primary function of a sealant and wax is so it's applied to your paintwork or even glass and wheels now, or trim, but let's assume we're talking about sealants or paintwork. So you apply it to your paintwork, and that product provides a protective layer between your clear coat or your paintwork and the environment, and it stops the environmental contaminants that you find when you clay a car, things like sap, things like fallout in particular from your brake discs, things like exhaust kind of pollution. It protects from those components being able to bond to your paintwork. You know from claying you can't wash off sap from your car. If you've got a little bit of sap there, you have to either clay it or chemically break it down with a particular type of product. Same with fallout. So they're horrible things, and you don't want to be claying your car very often. You know, it will mar your paint. So you don't want to be doing that. So once you've cleared the contaminants off your car, you then want to seal your car to protect it from the environment. That is the primary function of sealants and waxes, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about some of that stuff later on. The secondary function that people tend to think is the primary is to enhance the finish of your car. And here we have the kind of major separation that the sealant products seem to be the ones that excel or perform better at protecting your car from the environment for longer periods of time by the fact that they cure, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, and they last longer, whereas the wax products tend to fall more into the category of products which are used to enhance the finish of your car. Okay, so the third thing that I want to talk about that these products are used for, they can be used, and a lot of people starting out in detailing will use them for this, and that's when your car's finish isn't particularly good, and it's all the sort of damage that you see from the micro scratches that look like spiders' webs in the right light. A good thick layer of wax over your car will also help to kind of disguise or mask and fill those spider web scratches that you all know about. So you could argue that falls slightly into category 2 of enhancing the finish, but category 2 is more about the fact that the wax over the surface of the car will create a point of refraction that might not be so evident if the paintwork isn't in good condition. Point of reflection, sorry. So yeah, I suppose points 2 and 3 kind of mould together, if you like. So Okay, I want to move on now to what the differences, the sort of chemical differences are between waxes and sealants, because it's more that I think makes up the definition of what they are rather than what they're used for. So I'm just going to cut the video in and out. Okay, so the defining factor that makes a product either a sealant or a wax, as it was explained to me, and I'd be interested in any other input on this, because this is just how I understand it, is a sealant is a man-made synthetic product, typically or almost all the time a polymer, and that polymer is applied to your car, and then a reaction will occur, and I think from what I've read that these are moisture-based. They have moisture-based reactions. RTV moisture is the term that I read. So in other words, most of these products are sealed because if they get moisture in there in the air, they will go off. So a chemical reaction occurs and the polymer changes to a different chemical structure, so the strings kind of bond together or something. Anyway, whatever that chemical side of it is, and I'm not a chemist, the reaction causes a chemical change which makes the polymer bond and form a protective, durable layer over the car. So if it falls into that category of being a synthetic substance that reacts to moisture, typically a silicon-based polymer, then it's a sealant. If it's a product that its primary kind of active ingredient, the thing that's doing the work or giving you the finish, is a naturally occurring wax. The classic one is obviously that everyone's heard of is a carnauba wax, but I think some of them have got other waxes in, like beeswax and God knows what other types of waxes there are out there, I'm sure. In fact, I'd like to know, so again, that's a good thing to put into the comments. If anyone knows of any other naturally occurring type of waxes that are used in these products, it'd be good to put in there. So if the primary ingredient is this naturally occurring wax, then the product tends to be defined as a wax. And those products typically that are waxes, you know, natural wax-based products, there's going to be synthetic stuff in there as well with them, but primarily natural-based wax products are called waxes, or you hear them called paste waxes. So that's my understanding of the difference between sealants and waxes. And one thing I think that's come along quite recently, or relatively recently, in sort of the detailing kind of history, which is probably quite a short history, is the kind of emergence of hybrid products. So products which are founded on kind of synthetic silicon-based polymers that will cure on your paintwork, but that also contain naturally occurring waxes. So God knows what you call one of those, because it's a sealant in essence, but it's got naturally occurring waxing. So which definition trumps the other one? You could just call them hybrids if you know. So you've got a bit of everything, but hopefully this little ramble will give you an idea of, when you hear on these kind of forums people talking about sealants, then people talking about waxes, it will give you an idea of what those differences are. So it's nothing too complicated. So now the next thing I wanted to cover in this video, which is going to be relatively short, is some of these synthetic sealants that I use, some of the paste wax, carnauba paste waxes that I use, and some of the hybrid products that I use in the middle. And we'll talk about the ones I really like and the ones I think you might want to invest in. Okay guys, so the first product I want to talk about here, and this I think is probably the first product that I ever really used to seal my car, and I've had this bottle for a fair old while. This is called Auto Glim Extra Gloss Protection, and you'll hear the acronym used quite a lot on some of the forums and things around there. It's called EGP for short. This product falls into the category of synthetic sealant. So you apply this to your car, give it a good shake up first. It's very loose, it's almost like water in there. If you don't shake it up, you'll just get a clear liquid coming out. When you shake it, it mixes all other kind of active ingredients and you get like a hazy liquid coming out. You then apply this over your paintwork, You leave it for, it says between half an hour and an hour. I tend to find it works much better if you leave it for an hour, and you buff that thin layer off, and that is it. And then I tend to leave that, I don't know if it tells you to on the instructions, but then I would leave that kind of surface well alone for at least 12 hours before you put a sort of topper wax on it, just to allow it to fully, what you've put on there to fully cure. I'd also recommend you do 2 coatings of this. This product, it's not a product that people rave about out there, but it's a product that's widely used. The reason they don't rave about it is because its durability seems to be at sort of somewhere between 3 to 6 months. I would say you'll get, you should get 4 to 5 months out of it if you do 2 good coats on it and you've got a clean, prepped surface. And I did that other video on prepping your surface for applying a sealant oil wax. Obviously the ideal prepped surface is a surface that's been abrasively polished and then cleaned. So I think you should get between 4 or 5 months out of this product if it's applied properly. It's not ultra hydrophobic like some of the other sealants and waxes. By hydrophobic, there's a lot of really popular thing is for people to test how kind of water repelling their sealant and waxes, because that's one of the main characteristics of sealants and waxes, is they obviously repel water. That stops water staining, and that's a big part of the environmental contamination that we talked about earlier on. So it's not ultra hydrophobic, but it's certainly, you notice this when it's on your car. So that's the first product that I wanted to mention. It's relatively cheap as well. This bottle will last you ages. So this is a good synthetic sealant for a sort of hobbyist detailer to start off with. One of the strengths as well is that it's very easy to buff off. It's not too clingy and grabby. It doesn't it's forgiving to use. The only disadvantage, it's quite annoying sometimes to have to wait that 1 hour before you buff off, especially if you're doing 2 coats. That means it's going to take you 2 hours of waiting. So that will rule this out as a product that professionals will use just based on that alone, So that's the Auto Glim Extra Gloss Protection. Okay, so this next product here in this lovely looking kind of Japanese style kind of tin is Fuso. It's called Fuso Coats. It's basically a tin of synthetic wax from Japan. And if you've been on any detailing forum or Facebook group in the last kind of year, there will be someone talking about Fuso, particularly whenever there's a thread made, or a post made about waxes. Fuso will tend to get mentioned. The reason it will get mentioned is because this is one for the price, and I think this tin is about £20 and it will last you years. The reason is this is one of the most kind of long-lasting sealants that you can get, and it has really high hydrophobic quality. So if you put this on your clear coat of your car, you apply it properly, you let it bond, then you will see the results with the hydrophobic, the beading that people really like. So this is a really popular sealant. What are the disadvantages of this sealant? You have to be a little bit careful when you apply it, and when you lay this sealant down, it's quite a thick kind of product. It's not like a loose, obviously it's not like a loose liquid like the Auto Glim product. And if you leave any kind of trails of wax or the sealant on the paintwork, that you can, like little troughs almost, or little mounds, and you allow those to dry, it can be really difficult to buff those off. This product seems to start curing after about 15 minutes. So that can catch some people out, and it will upset a few people that they've really had to rub this product off with quite a lot of aggression, and it's really snagging on the towel. And a lot of people say, well, just apply it thin with a slightly damp applicator to get around that problem. I really like this product for the price, and I can see why it's so popular. And I use it when I want to put a seal down or something, and I want that seal to last, and then I'll top it with the show wax on top to really give some extra kind of gloss. So that's soft Fuso 99. It comes in a dark and light variety, and everyone that buys this, the question they ask is, you know, which one should I get, dark or light? Well, if you're buying it for your car, buy the dark if you've got a dark car, and buy the light if you've got a light car. The difference between the two products is negligible from what I hear. I've never used the light one. Basically, you can use either product on either car, but I got the Fuso dark. Okay guys, so the next synthetic sealant I want to talk about is called Finis Care 1000, well the acronym that everyone calls it by is FK1000P, and I think I've got that right, FK1000P, high temp paste wax, but this is actually classed as a synthetic sealant. What are the main advantages of this? This product provides a really strong, probably not strong as a Fuso, I don't get a year out of this, but you'll get easily over 6 months out of this. It provides a really strong synthetic seal, but the difference being between this and something like the Fuso 99, which is a real hard curing kind of wax that cures very quickly. That reaction that we're talking about, that moisture reaction, if that's what it is, I think it is, occurs within sort of 15 minutes, or starts occurring with the Fuso, and that reaction is so strong you get this really durable, long-lasting coating. This is, when you apply it, it's almost like the complete opposite. It's really similar to applying just a paste wax. You put it on, you don't really even see that kind of reaction, that kind of misting up, that curing happening. You put it on, you buff it off very much like a paste wax, and then you wait 24 hours for it to bond to your paintwork, and you get that strong seal. This is one of my favourite sealants for ease of use. I really love using this sealant, putting it on and then the next day topping it with a wax. And I think you do have to wait that 24 hours before you go in and top it with a wax. So you must let these products cure before you top them. So that is FK1000P, Finis Care sealant. Okay, so this product is Jet Seal 109 by Chemical Guys. So again, this is a synthetic sealant that you apply to your paintwork and it cures. You'll see a lot of mixed reviews about this one. Some people will say it's the best thing since sliced bread. Other people will say it's not too long lasting. I've only used it a couple of times and I haven't been able to comment on how it's lasted because I haven't used it on my cars. So I'm still really waiting to form an opinion on the durability of this, but this product goes on really nicely and really easily. Like I say, it's highly rated, so Jet Seal 109 is something you might want to consider.